Yeah.
I had something gaming related, Kyle. So I said some of it on PKN. I'm very tempted to jump back into Elden Ring, but I also a couple days ago I started Fallout 4, and I have like borderline zero experience in Fallout. I played actually this one, the beginning of it, when it came out, and like quickly stopped. Like I didn't really get anything done in it, so I didn't really know. And you told me, you're like, don't put anything in charisma because you get all these points, like your intelligence, your perception, your whatever. It depends. It impacts how well you do in things. And Kyle was like, don't worry about charisma. It does not matter. And I was like, all right, my guy's going to have no charisma. Absolute just wet blanket of a person to be around. And so like
Kyle,
literally
did you say this, no charisma, put it in zero. I mean,
yeah, he said there's no need for charisma. And so unlike, like, I was imagining it to be more like Skyrim's engagement talking, where it's kind of, you only can say a few things and they don't matter that much, and when they do, it's very obvious. And in Skyrim, at least, they even orchestrate it sometimes where you have a shitty speech and they'll be like, well, I'll give you the key of the Dragonstone, whatever. Fallout 4 does not do that. And I've been like out loud laughing a couple times because I fail every single speech check. I was waiting outside. The first like main city you go to is called Diamond City, and I got there, and there's this lady, this reporter NPC, and you know the guy at the gate, he can't see you, and so she's like, "Oh, you better let me in," and he's like, "Fuck off! You are just writing bad newspaper articles about Diamond City." And she's like, "Oh, well, this guy I'm here with, he's a big supplier of things. Are you gonna go tell Marcy that you turned a supplier away?" And he's like, "Okay," and he opens the gate. And then, like, you go talk to the guard, and he's like, "So, you here to tell me that all that was a bunch of hullabaloo out front of the gate?" And your options are to say, like, yeah, that was hullabaloo, bunch of nonsense. And your speech check is just to say, "I'm sorry." And so I hit, "I'm sorry," and my guy goes, because it'll say, "I'm sorry," and the guy actually gives a little more verbiage than that. He goes, "I'm sorry about that. I had never been to the city before. She started talking, and before I knew it, the door was open. I made a mistake." And my speech is so low that the guy behind the counter responds. He goes, "Oh, yeah? It happened so quickly, you forgot all human decency?" It happened so quickly, you forgot all human decency? I don't have time for people like you. Get out of my face. And I'm like, good God. Like I'm getting absolutely lit up by every NPC in this game.
Yeah.
I stumbled upon a vault that wasn't the one I started in on the way to Diamond City. And I walk in and they make it in, and this kid is like, "Hey, I'll show you around this vault. It'll only cost you 5 caps. And I choose every speech thing because they're funny. And so instead of selecting yes, I was like, "Yeah, you can show me around, but I'm not going to pay you 5 caps." And the kid goes, "If you're that much of a cheapskate, just go out there and die." It's like, it's like, Jesus, fuck,
That's
man.
why
Like,
I told you that, because like
it's so funny.
All you can get with higher ones is like avoiding fights or making a little bit of money, or like, you know, the kid would have led you around and you'd have saved 5 caps if you'd had high charisma, but you'd have been denied the kid telling you to go kill yourself. So it's a lot better that way. The same is true with intelligence. If you make your intelligence 0, especially in New Vegas, there's I'm not going to be able to do it perfectly, but there's this thing in New Vegas where you're trying to power up this solar array where it's tons of solar arrays powering a super weapon. And you're pretending like you're an expert about this technology to a guy, and the guy's like, "You sure you can handle this facility?" And if your intelligence is like 1, you just say, "Ooh, ooh, ooh, me make electric, boom, boom." And the guy's like, "I don't think you're qualified." Like you literally say like retarded stuff, like you grunt at them. Like there's one I think where if your medical skill is 0, like you just sort of like chop at them when you perform your surgery, but if your luck's high enough, you can be like, "Somehow your monkey-like strikes have created a perfect surgical operation. The patient lives. Congratulations." You're like, all right.
It's like, yeah,
there's lots of silly stuff in Fallout.
I'm glad I have 0 charisma because it's very funny. But the big downside is it impacts how much you can buy and sell things for. And so like I'll loot armor that in my little thing says it's worth 20, for example. I can sell it for 4. If I loot a gun that says it's worth 200, you know, I can sell it for, 30 or something.
Yeah,
and like if I want to buy one stim pack which I haven't because they say there's a million of those and there's a ton of them. It's like 200 for me to buy one stim pack.
Yeah, it's a little bit of an impediment.
So I'm just going to keep collecting.
I personally don't really. I like Fallout New Vegas the most. I think it's the best of the games. I'm not a big fan of 4. I've played it. I've beaten the shit out of it like 3 or 4 times, and with modded and unmodded and ridiculous and really plain Jane. The story's kind of a letdown, frankly. You haven't gotten there yet, but like when you get to like when your eyes are opened to the full plot, you'll be like, oh, well, that's kind of sad then, huh?
Yeah.
Well, shit. Where do we go from here?
Oh, no. Are the Institute not the bad guys? They were ham-handing how bad they were every NPC I talked to.
Yeah,
no,
I'm
pretty sure they're going to end up not being that bad.
You're going to have to choose between the Institute, the Railroad, and maybe the Brotherhood of Steel. I don't remember, but that's the real one. It's between the Railroad or the Institute, because the Institute is making these synthetic life forms and seemingly trying to enslave, like insert them into positions of power. And
I like
and the Railroad is trying to get them to safety.
The current guy I have with them is Nick Valentine, the synth who will like do the hacking for you.
Yeah, who's inexplicably dressed like a noir detective, like doesn't make any sense. The year's like 2178, I think.
It's 2277 or something. It's been hundreds of years. I like the way I play these games is like so slapdash. Like I don't just stay on mission. I go around, I explore everything. Like the first thing I do in all the games like this, like RPGs, is like wherever I start pointing, I turn around and explore everything behind me, because I always assume there's going to be a bunch of there's always loot.
I think right behind you, behind the waterfall. Yeah.
Yep, I went and found something in Fallout 4 too. But I really am liking it more than I thought I would. But the non-VATS combat is kind of shit. Like
it's been described. Like when Fallout 3 came out.
Yeah.
Oh, you're on controller?
I'm on because I'm using my Xbox to play it. That's what I have it on. And so like there's some like the cursor accelerates and decelerates like as you're moving it, which is weird.
Oh, man. Taylor.
Well, I'm playing on my Xbox. That's what I have it on.
Yeah, I get that bitch on the PC. God damn it.
Well, I would much when he was telling me his Elden Ring story during PKN about how much trouble he had with the menu system, like get a mouse. But now that you need to play it on PC, I bet a lot of it's weird.
Yeah, it's not. It's Dark Souls is literally more of a console game.
Oh, is it? Okay, that's fair.
It's made for console, and so they encourage you to play it on console. And the menu system is not very intuitive. It just the real thing is it takes too many clicks through layers to get to places on a controller. Whereas what you want on a controller in an RPG is like very quick access to your stuff. Like
something about that. I don't know this for sure, but I do know that when you have a keyboard with 104 keys on it, oftentimes they solve that.
Yeah, I'm sure. I like playing on console.
So I hope you really get into Fallout, because Fallout New Vegas.
I have a shit ton to do.
Fallout New Vegas is my favorite game, though. It's much darker. It's much more. It's much meaner. You're in the Mojave Desert in that one, and you've got Las Vegas as like this cool place to go. And I just don't think that like Diamond City compares to New Vegas, because those are like the two major like settlements that you go to. It's just as a centerpiece for a game, especially with the mod now, because you go into casinos in New Vegas and gamble, and there's slave girls dancing and stuff. Like you can get they got
Diamond City sucks. Like I actively am made sad when I walk into Diamond City.
Make sure
First of all, I don't know how long
you run
I
the plate. Run the bases.
Around the plate. Okay,
run the bases. It's a thing.
Okay, I did not do that
all the way around. Yeah.
I hate how it's organized. It's like you couldn't have made worse economic use of this baseball diamond. It's like the entire world is full of trash and they can't take it out. Like they can't take it out of Diamond City.
It's because Bethesda doesn't understand the universe in which their game is made in. They're just making like they made Oblivion with guns. That's what Skyrim was, or that's what Fallout 3 was called when it came out. But people love Oblivion with guns. If you think about how it works, like this is hundreds of years after the war. The war happened in like 2077, 2078. That's when the bombs fell. This is 200 years after the war. That's the same amount of time that separates us from fucking Napoleon. There aren't Napoleonic cannons just leaning against our houses. Okay, like there aren't skeletons at Waterloo just laying there. They actually don't know where all the bodies that died at Waterloo went. It's a bit of a historical mystery if you want to look into that one. It's fun.
I didn't know that.
They're not laying there anymore. Like you walk into a store in Fallout and there's a skeleton on a bench, and it's like there's a woman operating this business. Like she has never moved the body out of her place of business. She has a diner with a dead man in a chair. And it's like, come on, that's ridiculous. We would have swept up. We'd have started growing some crops. I watched a YouTube about a video about this today. They were talking about this exact thing. It's so right. Like
you're 100% right. Like that. Like when I play games like this, if there's like something integral to the plot, I'll pay attention to what's being said. But mostly, I'm listening to Carl Pilkington joke around in one ear, and like, it's just. Well, I'll say something good about it. The level up system for your skills infinitely better than Skyrim's. Like if you want to get like smithing in Skyrim, you have to take fucking hours of finding shit or flying around, fast traveling to every smith and then waiting until they restock and then buying it and dealing with the huge amount of money it costs and then all the weight of everything. In this, you just like select gun upgrade 2. And it's like, oh, this is perfect. Like, I did not want to spend a shit ton of time at a smithing station making iron daggers. That's the worst part of Skyrim. In this, it's almost like perk overload in Fallout 4. There's so much shit you can do that, like, I lose track. I'm like, I guess I should just keep putting shit in Rifleman, because I'm not doing that much damage.
I would always lean on a YouTube guide because there's so many choices to make.
I've never played it through, though, so I'm like trying to mostly do it myself. The only time I'm Googling on this playthrough is if like I get pissed off when I'm not told how to do something trivial that's needed for a larger purpose. So like when they're like, you need to build a radio tower here. And I'm like, and I go to this workshop and I'm like, okay, power, where the hell is the radio tower? And I look up on YouTube and the guy's like, yeah, so it's a little confusing because no one tells you how to do it. And they don't tell you to attach the wire. And also in order to get the tower, you have to go to other. And I'm like, oh, okay, other, and then find it. And like that kind of stuff. I will just Google, get it done real quick because I do not want to try and solve some puzzle that's not meant to be a puzzle.
Yeah. There's a lot. The DLC is quite good, I thought. There's one where you go to Nuka World, which is like a Coca-Cola world like kind of thing. It's like a theme park that you go to. That's and then there's one called maybe Far Harbor or something where you go to sort of a harbor city settlement where they live off the sea and they're being attacked by creatures. I think there's a cult there that worships maybe a nuclear weapon or something.
I'm sure I'll have to kill them at some point. Probably.
Yeah, that's your choice. You could side with them or you go the other way.
If I can get more, I always will choose what side will get me more XP. Like if I can get more XP, if it's like you can join us, we can go back to our base, or you can join that side and kill all of us, and it's like, well, you guys are going to give me a shit ton of XP.
I always cheat and go online, and I see what happens if I go left or right because I don't. Sometimes it's game breaking. It's like, oh, you killed Martha? Well, you can never be a ninja then. It's like, but I didn't even know I could be a ninja. Good, because we wouldn't have wanted you to get your hopes up. It's really cool, and now you can't do it. And there's but Martha, I want to know what happens. And sometimes it's like, if you kill the person, I don't know, a gemstone comes out of their asshole. But if you spare them, they give you the sword of eternity. And it's like, gems are a dime a dozen. I don't have a sword of eternity. Come on. So I like to find out what's going to happen.
I'm liking it a lot. Like first real foray into the Fallout universe. It's good to know that Fallout New Vegas is better. Fallout 3,
good.
That's not better.
I don't think so. That's another Bethesda.
Super old, isn't it?
It's probably 10 years old or 13 years old, something like that. So you had Fallout. Obsidian made Fallout New Vegas. And the people from Obsidian are made up of some people from the OG company whose name escapes me. It doesn't matter. They made Fallout 1 and 2. Fallout 1 and 2 were these top-down like survival games. But Fallout 3, like I said, they called Oblivion with guns. It's okay, but I don't like it. I've never liked Fallout 3. It's in Washington, D.C. And then New Vegas came out a couple years after that in 2010, and according to Zach. And I really like that one, as most people do. It's great modded. And then you've got Fallout 4, which is in Boston, and then Fallout 76, the cash grab game that came out a few years ago. That's just dreadful, and it takes place, I think, in West Virginia.
And it doesn't have. You said it had like no content. Like it was just.
It's changed since I played it. It's a weird sort of like multiplayer Fallout. We could play it together. I bet it's fun now. Because it's been so long. I bet it's one of those games that they were like, okay, and it's probably better now. But if you want to play Fallout together, Fallout 76 accomplishes that for sure.
I'd be down, definitely. I'm sure it's probably cross-platform.
And there's like,
but I don't own Fallout 76. I just get that on PC.
Yeah, I would definitely want to play Fallout on PC. I've got the most Fallout time on console though, on like Xbox 360. I think playing New Vegas back then. There's no telling how many playthroughs I did. Just wasting time wandering in that goddamn desert.
I haven't dealt with any glitches so far in Fallout 4, which is something like in Skyrim. I always use that as point of comparison because I played that more than any other RPG by a magnitude of 10. But I like that. And it's way better on the waypoints than Skyrim was. Like, I know it's the same company, so 5 years, they made a lot of better decisions. Like, so many of the problems in Skyrim were like, I already collected all the dragon heads. And then it's like, oh, yeah, but this person's stuck in a doorway and a Draugr is laying on top of them. It's like, oh, okay, well, I guess I don't have to join the Thieves Guild. Like, because that's all you can do. But in this, like, even the companions, they like get out of your way better. They don't just stand in the doorway for you.
Oh man, like
the Death Claws. I thought the Death Claws were going to be a huge part of this game. I fought one Death Claw and I got a super armor set for it. I did try to kill it without the armor set because I thought I was hardcore. I got fucked up so fast because I didn't think it would be that fast. And with the armor set, got it pretty good. But that's the only Death Claw. Haven't seen any Death Claws other than that. Yeah, I guess I haven't played that. I haven't played very long.
So if you if you look at the map, you have the area you start in, and then radiating out from there, you can find it online. But there's like a temperature map, and every time it goes to a hotter color, the enemies are leveled up, and they use the leveling system in the game. Like now their stats are just better. They're level 100, they're level 250 or whatever. And as you radiate out, the further you get away, on the opposite end of the map in the glowing sea. The glowing sea is like this crazy irradiated area with like your visibility is like 20 yards or something because there's just blowing toxic nuclear like fog blowing past your vision everywhere. Everything's green and glowy. And there's tons and tons of gigantic rad scorpions and death claws out there. It's kind of hard to survive there to begin with because it's so radiated.
I want to like get a companion who I actually like, because next playthrough I want to do the like lone guy where you get bonuses for being by yourself. I think that seems like fun. The loot would be annoying, but I did not read what you just posted. Sorry.
What's this?